Hi, it's great to be back to normal life after a terrible COVID-19 knockdown. And so I decided to just make this little video and share a little bit about my horrific experience of this deadly virus. It was on the 3rd of June when I began to feel very funky in my body. I started feeling strange fever, and I remember thinking, maybe this is just a normal cold. But then it became very unusual. And I decided to go to the hospital to do a test. The doctor did a test and I tested positive. That was the beginning of hell. And that evening, I had, I remember very well, I had an event. As usual, my life is very busy, packed with a lot of presentations, seminars, and webinars. And that evening, I had a Toastmasters meeting and I was speaking. I remember calling my wife to say, babe, I have COVID. Please prepare my studio for me. That would be my isolation place. And she did that. I arrived, and guess what? I still had some energy to actually deliver my speech. I delivered my speech, and immediately after the speech, I got knocked down. I just fell on the bed. I was feeling very strange in my body. I was feeling very cold. My joints were paining. It was excruciatingly painful. I went through the night, very strangely, spending a night alone. I couldn't say good nights to my babies. I usually tell them bedtime stories and kiss them on their foreheads to just say good night, kiss my wife good night. That night drastically changed. It was very dramatic. I couldn't speak to them because of COVID-19. And I was so scared. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what the next days were going to bring. And a few days from that Thursday, on a Saturday, I had a big event lined up with PMI Karachi, Pakistan, where I was to deliver a webinar on resilient leadership. And so I kept preparing, being hopeful that I was still going to power through. That day came, and shockingly, I managed to power through the presentation. I am yet to watch the presentation. I'll be very, very excited to actually play back the presentation and see how it went. But I did the presentation through the pain and through the strange feeling in my body. Luckily, the excitement was more than the pain that I was going through. It surpassed everything. The dopamine in me just made me power through. I was very excited, and the presentation finished. And I told the people in the presentation that I actually had COVID. I was battling with COVID. After that day, then things just changed. Every day that came presented strange symptoms. One moment, my muscles were paining. They got swollen. It was pain all over the body. And the next minute, you have diarrhea. And now you are getting dehydrated whilst steaming. That was a very horrific experience. COVID-19 is bad, and it feels, we talk about it lightly when we hear of it on TV and on social media that somebody has COVID-19. We've got so much number of people admitted and so many people have died. When it's a statistic and when it's news from afar, it feels different. And personally, I've had to deal with the effects of COVID-19, especially on businesses and as a leader. And when talking about it, it has always been me talking about it in the sense of the effects that it has on businesses. and how leaders can rise above, how leaders can become agile, how leaders can be more resilient to actually power through the turbulent times to mitigate the effects of COVID-19. But this time around, it was not the effects of COVID-19, it was COVID-19 running in my blood. And the reaction was totally different because I could feel it now in my body. And each day that came was a possible departure day for me. I actually felt, I've never felt so close to death. COVID-19 is terrible. It's really bad. It tightens your chest, and all of a sudden, this thing that you take for granted every day because we feel like it's automatic. We just wake up and we are breathing, and all of a sudden, it's something that is very difficult. You can't catch your breath. Like it's you start gasping for air all of a sudden. In the midst of that, you have excruciating pain all over your body. You have a terrible headache. You begin to feel dizzy. And the most terrifying thing is that you don't have people around you. You need to be alone because it's highly contagious and you need to isolate. And so the other day came, each day came with different symptoms and experiences. Started throwing up, and you just lose power. You just lose the energy within your body. And then it begins to play on your psychological disposition. And for me, I had a very terrible experience. And I know Maine can understand me as a man of the house. You you want to feel like you have some level of protection over your family. You are able to provide for your family. You are able to protect them to an extent. You are able to provide that security for your family. And now, when COVID-19 hits you, then you are incapacitated, you are helpless. And now you're looking at this family and thinking, God forbid if I died, who's going to take care of them? Because you're so weak in your body and you don't know what the next day brings. And I'm really just summarizing my experience because it was really a long one. After a few days, my wife started showing symptoms of COVID. And I was like, God, let it not be. She's the only one who was taking care of me and at least bringing the kids by the window, by the door, for me to just have a glance at them from a distance. And true to our fears, they went for it, for a test, all of them with the kids, and they all tested positive. And that was just another level of hell. And you're thinking, God, how are we going to manage this process? How are we going to manage this? And in the middle of that, I was still battling with gaining strength and going through all that excruciating pain that I was going through. And now my wife is incapacitated as well. Worse off, the little baby, the 5 months baby, also got it. And that now temperature was just going high in the night. And now it was chaos. It was chaos all over the place. Our helpers also started showing the symptoms. I went for a test and they had it as well. So the entire household had COVID and we were grounded, terribly grounded. And it's a situation that I had to go through the time that I just timed out. And so a lot of lessons, there was a lot of retrospection and introspection of what really mattered in life in that moment. Because number one, we usually focus on different things. We usually focus on things that we feel are really important, especially providing all the expectations by people, especially outside our families, because this is something that is within our vocation. This is something which is within our career and all. And when it boils down to you just getting knocked down and realizing that each day is a possible day of departure, you actually realize that family is all you have. And if this family that looks out for you, for your best interest, for your good health, gets knocked down as well, and then now you have thoughts of thinking, this is catastrophic, you can just get wiped out as as an entire family, and there's no one looking out for you really. And this is a reflection that I shared on Facebook a few days ago, that it's very possible for, in fact, it's not possible. That's the way it is in organizations. There are always business continuity plans. There are contingency plans. If you are a resource on a project, or you're a resource on whatever process that you're running on, there's always a contingency plan. I am a project management consultant, so I understand when you're doing your risk assessment and you're building your risk register, you always find contingency plans to say, should Billy not be around, or should Billy get unwell, we need to get Abigail to help out so that the business continues. And there's nothing wrong with that. These are organizations, these are corporate entities that do not have feelings or emotions attached to us. They need to continue running. They're a business, they need to make profit, they need to exist the following day. And so you can't really fault them for that. But for you as an individual, it actually changes the way you think. You may not have control over an organization, but you have control over your life and what you prioritize in your life. Who do you put first in your life? What do you really prioritize in your life? What comes first? What really matters in your life? Having gone through this COVID-19 knockdown, with no doubt, I'll tell you, number one, you get close to your creator, you get close to God. It's very easy for you to think that you just wake up to an alarm and you're all over the place, doing all sorts of things and achieving things. And you forget that you do not have any control over this life. Any day can be a day that you actually die. There's somebody that has control over your life. There's somebody that has full control over your life, and you realize that you need to submit to God. You need to be a person that really appreciates every breath that you take, because we take it for granted that we are supposed to breathe when people are dying, when people are incapacitated. As I'm speaking to you right now, I have gained a little bit of strength, and I thank God for that. I'm still fighting my way back to becoming rejuvenated, to be the way I was before and begin to feel in my body, the normal way. I'm still regaining my sense of taste. I'm still regaining my sense of smell. This is how terrible this is. But there are people who are now just joining the bandwagon right now, and they're getting incapacitated. They're going through that horrible stage. And some of them are not making it. We are seeing over the internet, the number of deaths that are coming up and all those statistics that are really, really terrifying. And this just brought me to this stage to want to come and talk to you, to remind you that this life that you have, you do not own it. You can lose it any given day, just in a snap of the fingers. You can lose it. It's like mist. It's here today and gone tomorrow. It's like a rose flower. It's here in the morning, in the evening, it just withers away. That is the way this life is. It's so fragile. And that's the reason why it's important that you tell the people that are close to you that you love them. And when you tell them that you love them, it's different when you have gone through such an experience. When you kiss your kids on your forehead, you really mean it, because you know that really any day you can go. You can just easily go. And so I just want us to take this COVID-19 so seriously. You need to social distance. It's not just about you. It's not just about me. It's the people around you. Look at me. I was the only person that was moving out because my wife was on maternity leave. our helpers do not go anywhere. Our kids were just home. They were around. It was me who was moving about, and I brought COVID at home, and everybody got it. I thank God that everybody is now fully recovered and we are all negative. I thank God for that. But it could have been worse. It didn't have to be about me alone. It was about the people that are around me, the people that love me. So when you are acting, you need to act with responsibility. If you are a leader of any organization, you are a CEO, you are heading a project, you really need to introspect. You really need to think through what really matters at this moment. Do you want to just continue pushing through in achieving those goals, those tight timeline at the expense of the people that are helping you achieve those timelines, that are helping you achieve those goals? Do a cost benefit analysis. Would you rather put people in harm's way and push through maybe for a week and then lose half of your team to this COVID-19? They get grounded and some of them might even die because of a decision that you make. Or would you rather make sure that they are protected? You may incur some losses for a short period of time, maybe for a month, but then with a healthy workforce, you can always turn around the situation. People will always make profits for you. It's not systems that make profits for organizations, it's the people. And that's why the health of the people need to come first. And it changes the dynamics of leadership. When you meet your team members, you ask them how they are, and then you ask them how their families are. People are coming from families where they're grappling with this pandemic. The people that they love are really grappling with this pandemic. People are on oxygen. People are failing to breathe. People are on drips every day. This is how serious this thing is. And so as a leader, you really need to be very empathetic, and in your decision making, you consider people as human beings more than just resources. So these are not just pawns that are there for you to move to achieve certain goals. You want to prioritize the health of the people. If you have COVID-19 right now, I would just like to talk to you and remind you that take one day at a time. It's more of a psychological battle than it is a physical one. For some people, I appreciate, with underlying diseases, it's also physical, but mainly it's your mental state that will help you push through this. Do not think about all the work that is pending. Do not think about the backlog stories, the backlog that you have that you need to work on. Do not think about that next event that you need to show up on and you need to be there. You need to give it up. You just need to give it up and realize that you are knocked down and you need to go through that process. Take each day as it comes, power through the pain as it comes on a daily basis. This is an agile mindset. You want to deal with a day as it comes. And in no time, you will be amazed at how much you power through, and you will be there. Like myself, I didn't envision myself actually speaking to you right now, but here I am regaining my strength because I'm taking each day as it comes. And remember, reevaluate your priorities. The people that really matter in your life, the people that loves you, the people who will never pull out another file from a cabinet to replace you should you die. These are the people that really matters. Tell them that you love them every day. Spend time with them despite the busy schedule that you have. Spend time with them. Those busy schedules will never end. This is life. But within that, prioritize, find time to spend with your family, and just find time to pick up a call. Tell the person that is close to you, tell a friend that you love them, tell them that you care, tell them that you're thinking about them. Just do that. I've been making a lot of random calls after going through this COVID-19. The shocking part is that 80% of the people I'm calling are actually knocked down with the same. And I've had to just share my experience with them, just to uplift the spirits. You never know what people are really going through. And finally, this social media frenzy of people just wanting to report on bad news, they get excited. You want to be the first person to say, so has died. It's really evil, if you ask me. People are now losing the sense of humanity at the expense of you wanting to perpetrate certain news. I've seen some false news on Facebook saying that this one has died, when in the actual sense that person has not died. I want you to think about something. When you get on your PC, whatever you do not just think about this camera here and this keyboard here that you can just type any nonsense and just send it out there. You are dealing with people that have families. You are dealing with people that have children. You are dealing with people that are married to their spouses. You're dealing with people who have their mothers. You're dealing with people who are connected, so connected to people that really loves them. And what they mean to them is different from what they mean to you on Facebook, because all you see is their profile picture and what they post. And so when you say something careless, such as somebody has died, when in the actual sense they haven't, do you really understand the emotional, devastation that you are imposing on the family of that person? And most importantly, on that person who's really fighting their way through, wanting to survive, and for them to just hear that someone is perpetrating news that they're dead. Do you understand how that affects that person? Do you even understand that you are actually contributing to accelerating the possible death of that individual? So many things that we do carelessly on our keyboards, and we do not understand the depth of the damage that they actually take in people's lives. So I just want to sternly warn people to say that when you get on Facebook, be the person that perpetrates positivity. Be the person that gives hope to that person who's on oxygen. Be that person that actually brings unity in our nation as we're going through these turbulent times, or going through very difficult times. Be that one person that actually just stands out and say, I will preach positivity in this situation. I will be the person that actually brings peace, in this situation. Because just come to think of it, at the end of the day, if we can't connect as human beings, then we can't exist individually. And so our strength lies in us coming together and working together. And we can only do that if we have empathy. We really need to be compassionate. We really need to show love above everything. So thank you so much for listening to me. And I just felt like sharing this journey with you. I know I've just touched on a few things, but please, wherever you are, remember to love the person that is next to you. Remember to speak to your team members, to your subordinates. Remember to show care. And most importantly, stay away from COVID-19 as much as you can. Mask up, follow all the guidelines. If you can get a job, please go for it. Let's protect ourselves. We need to leave this world better than we found it. And the only way we can do that is when we act responsibly. So have a great evening, have a great night, have a great morning, have a great day ahead of you. And as you go around in this world, whether on the virtual platforms or in the physical sense, be that person that perpetrates positivity. Thank you.